Forget the Constitution. Your daily life is actually governed by a ruthless, invisible legal code you never signed up for, yet follow with religious devotion. Breaking these rules won't land you in a jail cell, but it will subject you to a jury of strangers who've already decided you're a monster. We're exposing the 48 unwritten laws that truly dictate American life, from the sacred buffer zone of public restrooms to the high-stakes theater of the restaurant check. These are the real rules of the game. 1. In the hushed gloom of a cinema, order isn't maintained by the staff, but by a terrifying form of collective vigilante justice. The moment a whisper breaks the silence, 30 strangers pivot in unison to deliver a glare so lethal it could melt lead. The unwritten law is absolute. Your mouth is for popcorn, not commentary. That sharp, icy shush is our last socially acceptable form of public shaming, and it's a brutally effective weapon against anyone brave enough to ruin the third act. 2. Imagine you're at a ball game when the first notes of the national anthem resonate through the air. Suddenly, a massive, unspoken command ripples through the crowd. You stand. You remove your hat. You go silent. There isn't a single federal law requiring this behavior, yet the social pressure feels as heavy as gravity. To stay seated is to commit a scandalous act of defiance. In that split second, a stadium of individuals transforms into a single, synchronized organism governed by a silent, powerful rule. 3. Looking at another person's phone screen is the modern equivalent of reading their physical mail. That glowing rectangle is a private sanctuary, a digital portal into their soul. To peer into it uninvited is a social felony that instantly marks you as a pariah who doesn't understand basic human boundaries. It's a universal understanding. Whatever is happening on that screen is strictly none of your business. 4. In America, you tip or you accept your status as a social monster. There is no federal statute requiring a 20% gratuity, but the sheer bone-deep terror of being judged as cheap is a more powerful deterrent than any police force. It's a system governed not by laws, but by the quiet, soul-crushing disappointment in a server's eyes. You aren't just paying for the calories. You're paying a mandatory guilt tax to avoid the silent verdict that you are, in fact, a deeply flawed human being who doesn't value service. 5. You're strolling with a friend when you suddenly bump into an old acquaintance. At that exact moment, a social timer starts ticking. You have precisely 3 seconds to perform the introduction before things get weird. To fail this ritual and launch into a private conversation is to commit an act of social erasure. You've effectively demoted your friend to the status of a human prop, forced to stare at the sidewalk in agony. It's not just a lapse in memory, it's a tiny sacred ceremony that says, "I see you both, and you both belong here." 6. Of all the invisible contracts we sign, the sanctity of the queue is the most vital. We will tolerate freezing rain, incompetent service, and elevator music, but we will never, ever forgive a line cutter. Cutting isn't just a minor rudeness. It's a declaration that your time is more valuable than the collective patience of the group. It's a moral crime that can turn a peaceful DMV line into a scene from a gladiator movie. Without the line, civilization collapses into primitive chaos. 7. In the ecosystem of the public restroom, there is a boundary more sacred than any international border: the buffer urinal. If a row of stalls is empty, you do not park yourself directly next to a stranger. That middle urinal is a hallowed, unspoken DMZ, intended to remain vacant at all costs. To break this protocol is more than a breach of etiquette. It's a psychological assault. Choosing the adjacent spot when others are open is the ultimate litmus test for whether you're a functioning member of society. 8. There's a specific sound that can unite a room of strangers in a bond of pure, seething hatred: the tinny audio of a public speakerphone call. Using your speaker in a coffee shop or a quiet train car is a form of social terrorism. You've unilaterally decided that your boring conversation about Brenda's dating life is now everyone's mandatory, low-quality podcast. It's not just loud, It's a presumptuous demand for the entire world to participate in your private drama, and it's absolutely inexcusable. 9. You reach into the pantry for a snack, and the box feels suspiciously light. You open it, and it's a hollow lie. It's empty. Putting an empty container back in the fridge or pantry is a high-level domestic crime. It's an act of psychological warfare that creates a surge of false hope only to crush it seconds later. You haven't just finished the cookies, you've stolen a moment of joy from the next person. That's not just a mistake, it's calculated household cruelty. 10. Your phone rings with an unknown number, and your first reaction isn't curiosity. It's pure, unfiltered dread. The new cardinal rule of American life is simple: never answer the phone. We let it drift into the digital purgatory of voicemail to be judged for its worthiness later. This isn't just about avoiding spam, it's a fundamental shift in our social contract. An unscheduled, anonymous phone call has become a social violation, an aggressive, presumptuous demand for your undivided attention that most people now find borderline offensive. 11. Discovering an empty toilet paper roll is a personal betrayal. The law is absolute. If you finish the roll, you replace the roll. Leaving that barren cardboard tube is a passive-aggressive billboard announcing to the next person that your convenience matters more than their basic hygiene. You're not just lazy, you're a monster. 12. Few social failures broadcast your incompetence as loudly as walking into a friend's party with empty hands. The moment you cross that threshold without a contribution, you transition from a guest to a social parasite. The unwritten law of the gathering is absolute. Never show up empty-handed. That bottle of wine or bag of chips isn't really a gift. It's your social entry fee. It's the price you pay to participate in the collective fun without being branded a freeloader by everyone else in the room. 13. Within the communal confines of the office break room, certain culinary choices are viewed as high-level war crimes. At the top of that list is the decision to microwave fish. The person who commits this act isn't just having lunch, they are launching an olfactory offensive that will haunt the ceiling tiles for days. The lingering scent of reheated salmon is a flagrant violation of the Workspace Geneva Convention. That microwave becomes a sarcophagus of shame, a permanent monument to the individual who decided their lunch was more important than everyone else's right to breathe. 14. You approach the office kitchen, desperate for caffeine, only to find a scorched, empty carafe sitting on the burner like a monument to human apathy. This isn't just a minor oversight, it's a direct strike against the collective morale of the entire workforce. The law of the communal pot is simple. If you take the last cup, you start the next brew. Failing to do so is a silent announcement that you are the main character of this office, and everyone else is just an extra in your selfish world. 15. Walking a dog in a civilized neighborhood comes with one non-negotiable duty. When your furry friend decides to decorate a neighbor's lawn, the law of the leash is clear. You must bag it. People are often shocked to learn this isn't always a legal requirement, but the social enforcement is more terrifying than any police fine. Leaving it behind is an act of suburban biowarfare. You instantly become the local pariah, the person whose name is whispered with concentrated disgust at every future block party. 16. As a guest in someone's home, you are essentially a tenant on a high-stakes, short-term lease where the security deposit is your entire reputation. The unwritten law of the house guest is to achieve ghost mode. You make your bed until it looks like a museum exhibit, you scrub the sink, and you never leave a single sock out of place. Your goal is a state of +0, leaving behind nothing but a thank you note. This silent pass-fail exam determines if you'll ever be invited back or if you're blacklisted forever. 17. When a friend hands you their phone to show you a meme, a specific social transaction occurs. Even if the joke is painfully unfunny, you are legally obligated to provide a reaction. A chuckle, a grin, or even just a sharp, performative exhale through the nose is the required payment for the act of sharing. A blank stare, isn't just a rejection of the joke, it's a personal insult to the person's taste. We perform these tiny theater pieces because they are the necessary currency for maintaining the social peace. 18. You're in a pin-drop quiet library or a packed bus when your thumb slips on your screen. Suddenly, a video autoplays at the volume of a jet engine, shattering the silence and your dignity simultaneously. The frantic, sweating scramble to find the volume button is a panic unlike any other. The unwritten rule is absolute. Your phone's audio belongs only to your ears. In that moment of the public audio breach, you've committed one of the modern world's great social sins, and the collective judgment of the room is heavy. 19. When a friend shows you a single photo on their phone, they are handing you a loaded weapon. This is a sacred trust exercise with one unbreakable rule. Do not swipe left or right. That phone is a digital Pandora's box of private texts, accidental selfies, and weird search histories. Swiping is an act of digital trespassing, a violation of the highest order that can instantly terminate a friendship. Your only legal move is to look at the designated image, offer a polite nod, and hand that device back immediately. 20. Your groceries are loaded, and now you face the ultimate moral gauntlet of modern life. There are no fines and no cops, just you and a shopping cart. The unwritten law of the parking lot is that you must return that cart to its designated corral. This is the definitive test of a person's capacity to be a decent human being when no one is watching. Abandoning a cart in a parking space isn't just lazy, it's an act of social vandalism. It's the final exam of adulthood, and we are all judging your score. 21. When your neighbor finishes grooming their turf to a golf course finish, your yard suddenly looks like a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. This isn't a city ordinance, it's suburban psychological warfare. The state of your lawn is essentially a public credit score for your entire life. A manicured emerald carpet signals you're a successful, functioning adult, while a single defiant dandelion is a crack in the facade. This unspoken arms race, fought with weed whackers and specialized fertilizers, is what separates a civil society from the local jungle. 22. The moment those little read icons appear on your screen, a modern law of digital engagement is activated. You can no longer hide behind the "I didn't see it" defense. Leaving someone on read after a direct question is the digital equivalent of making eye contact with someone in person, listening to their question, and then slowly turning your back on them in total silence. Your lack of a reply isn't just a delay. It's a loud, deliberate statement that says your time is more valuable than their existence. 23. We all perform a complex moral calculation several times a day at every doorway. You hear footsteps behind you and suddenly you're solving a physics problem involving distance, velocity, and social obligation. If they're too far, you look like a weirdo waiting for them. Too close, and letting the door slam is a declaration of war. It's the unwritten law of doorway chivalry, and the pressure of that split-second decision defines your character more than your actual resume ever will. 24. Helping a friend move is more than a favor. It's an ironclad social contract signed in sweat and sealed with the groan of lifting a box labeled miscellaneous kitchen items. By sacrificing your Saturday to haul a sofa up 3 flights of stairs, you've created a social debt of immense power. They are now legally and morally bound to assist your future move, regardless of the distance or the weight of your furniture. This debt is lifelong and more binding than any document a high-priced lawyer could ever draft. 25. The phrase "want some" is a trap. When a friend offers you their fries, they are invoking a high-stakes test of your moral fiber. The unwritten law of the fry tax allows you exactly 2 or 3 specimens. Taking a massive handful is an act of culinary barbarism that will be remembered long after the meal is over. It's a bizarre ritual of performative restraint designed to prove you are a civilized human being and not a feral creature who just emerged from the woods to steal starches. 26. Step into an elevator with 3 strangers and you'll witness a silent geometrical ballet. Everyone instinctively drifts to the furthest possible corners, creating a series of invisible force fields. This isn't just social awkwardness, it's the sacred American rule of the personal space bubble. We all understand the unspoken math, and we all enforce it without a word. It's a dance of geometry we perform every single day just to avoid the catastrophic tragedy of our elbows accidentally grazing a total stranger. 27. You're cruising along, music blasting, when the distant wail of a siren cuts through your car's interior. Instinctively, you reach for the volume knob. There is no law requiring you to mute your playlist for a passing ambulance, but we do it anyway. It's a collective, solemn gesture of public reverence, an acknowledgement that someone else's life or death emergency is significantly more important than your favorite podcast. For those few seconds, we all agree to be silent together in a rare moment of community unity. 28. We say, "bless you," on pure reflex, a social script drilled into us since birth. But this isn't just about manners. It's a 700-year-old antivirus program against demonic possession. Back in the plague years, people genuinely feared a sneeze could eject your soul from your body, and a quick blessing was a supernatural emergency intervention to shove it back in. Today, we're still performing high-speed supermarket aisle exorcisms every time someone's seasonal allergies act up. It's a bizarre habit that keeps the demons at bay. 29. You're mid-conversation when you realize you have a story that is objectively better than the one currently being told. You are now at a critical crossroads. The unwritten law of dialogue dictates that you must let them finish their entire narrative before you pivot. Interrupting with, "Oh, that's just like the time I," is a hostile takeover of the conversation. It signals that their life experience is merely a launchpad for your own ego. It's not a discussion, it's a narrative hijacking, and people will hate you for it. 30. The bus doors open, and an elderly woman with a cane steps into the aisle. Suddenly, your commute has become a high-stakes pop quiz for your soul. A law more powerful than any city ordinance is instantly triggered. If you are young and healthy, you must surrender your seat. Pretending to be asleep or staring intently at your phone is not a valid defense. The silent, collective judgment of every other passenger becomes a palpable force, a courtroom that has already found you guilty of basic human failure. 31. You're at the gym, earbuds in, crushing your set. Suddenly, a stranger approaches, not because of a medical crisis, but just to chat. This is a flagrant violation of the ultimate modern American rule. Headphones are a universal "do not disturb" sign. Putting them on creates an invisible velvet rope around your personal space. To ignore this signal is to declare that your social needs override everyone else's boundaries. It's an act of digital trespassing, and in the hierarchy of gym sins, it's second only to leaving your sweat on the bench. 32. When that wedding invitation arrives with a registry link, don't mistake it for a list of suggestions. This is the legal code of the upcoming union, and you are expected to comply. Going off registry is an act of supreme ego. It's you claiming you know what the couple needs better than they do. That hand-knitted tea cozy you picked out isn't a thoughtful gift. It's a clutter-based burden they now have to manage. The registry exists to prevent domestic chaos, and your total submission is mandatory for social harmony. 33. Listen to the first 10 seconds of any American interaction, and you'll hear a pre-programmed ritual. "Hey, how are you?" is followed by "good you," and then "good." This isn't an inquiry into your mental health. It's a verbal handshake to confirm both parties are functioning. Admitting your life is currently a dumpster fire is a major protocol breach that traps the other person in a conversation they never signed up for. We stick to the script because it's the grease that keeps the social gears turning without getting messy. 34. In our era of peak TV, a new and formidable law has been forged. Thou shalt not spoil. Revealing a major plot twist to someone who hasn't seen the show isn't just a slip of the tongue. It's an emotional heist. You are robbing a friend of a genuine, unrepeatable experience. The shock, the joy, or the heartbreak they can never get back. There is a sacred, unwritten embargo period after every release, and violating it is the cardinal sin of modern friendship. You don't just share information, you destroy a moment. 35. The parking lot is a theater of character, and the rules are simple. Stay between the white lines. Not on them, not diagonally across them. Just fit your metal box into the designated rectangle. Failing this basic task is a public announcement of either staggering incompetence or terminal selfishness. It's the easiest test of spatial awareness and social decency we have, and every time you walk away from a poorly parked car, the entire world is silently grading your performance with a failing mark. 36. This is the nuclear option of social interactions. It is the most dangerous question in the English language, and the rule is absolute. Never ask a woman if she's pregnant. It doesn't matter if she's literally 9 months along and buying a car seat. The potential reward is stating the obvious, while the risk is a catastrophic social explosion from which there is no return. It is the final boss of unwritten rules, and the only way to win is to never, ever play the game. 37. A barista serves your latte, you say, "Thank you," and then nothing. The transaction isn't actually finished. The social contract requires a response. A "no problem," a "you're welcome," or even a polite nod. Silence in the face of gratitude isn't neutral. It's a jarring power move. It's a cold rejection of a social bond that leaves the other person feeling dismissed. We exchange these verbal receipts not because we need the validation, but because they signify that we've acknowledged each other's humanity. 38. You spot a vague acquaintance 2 aisles away at the grocery store. Instantly, your brain triggers a silent alarm. The unwritten law states that eye contact is a binding contract for 5 minutes of agonizing small talk about the weather. To save both parties, you execute the dodge. You become fascinated by the sodium content of a soup can or duck down the cereal aisle with surgical precision. This isn't rudeness. It's a mutual, deeply understood courtesy that allows us to buy frozen pizza in peace without social exhaustion. 39. The meeting is finally winding down. Everyone is mentally halfway to the parking lot. Then the boss asks, "Any final questions?" This is a test of your soul. Unless the building is literally collapsing, the answer is no. Asking a complex new question at this moment makes you a public enemy. You have single-handedly kidnapped 20 people who were seconds away from freedom. A brilliant question asked an hour ago makes you look sharp. That same question asked now makes you a monster who hates lunch. 40. Borrowing a friend's tool or car is a high-stakes transfer of trust that invokes a binding, unwritten law. You must return the item in the same, or ideally, better, condition. If you borrow a car, you return it with a full tank of gas, even if you only went to the corner store. If you borrow a book, there should be 0 dog-eared pages or coffee stains. This isn't just about maintenance. It's the interest payment on a loan of pure faith, and your social credit score depends entirely on it. 41. An invitation to a potluck is essentially a social subpoena, and it comes with a strict legal code. The unspoken law of the buffet is that your contribution must have perceived value. Showing up with a single bag of generic chips or a lukewarm bottle of soda is a high-level act of social arbitrage. You're essentially trying to trade a $3 investment for a $20 artisanal meal. Your dish is your testimony, and the jury of your peers is judging your entire character based on the quality of your potato salad. 42. A proud new parent shoves their phone toward you, displaying a photo of their newborn. The baby might look like a confused, wrinkly potato, but the law of the cradle is absolute. In this high-stakes theatrical performance, there is only one acceptable script. Oh, they're so cute. Any hesitation or, God forbid, objective honesty is a social suicide mission. This isn't the time for a critique of infant aesthetics. It's a sacred ritual where the truth is a luxury you simply cannot afford to use if you want to keep your friends. 43. It's a bizarre piece of social arithmetic. A box with 2 slices of pizza is just food, but the moment it drops to 1, it becomes a cursed object. Suddenly, the most delicious slice in the room transforms into a social landmine that no one dares to touch. This is the great paradox of the last slice. Everyone wants it, but nobody wants to be branded the person who took the last one. We'd collectively rather let that pizza congeal into a cold, sad disc of regret than face the silent judgment of the group. 44. The check hits the table and a switch flips. What was once a relaxed lunch instantly transforms into a ceremonial battle of generosity known as the check dance. It starts with a calm, "I've got this," which is immediately parried by a "No, please, let me." This often escalates into a physical contest, with adults literally wrestling over a piece of paper or trying to slide their credit card to the server like they're passing a secret state document. It's the only competition on Earth where winning feels great, but leaves your wallet significantly lighter. 45. It's 7 a.m. on a Saturday, the one time of week when the world is finally quiet. In this fragile piece, an unwritten community treaty holds total power. Do not start your lawnmower. Firing up a loud 2-stroke engine at dawn is essentially a declaration of war against every neighbor within 3 blocks. This isn't just about the decibels, it's a fundamental violation of the sacred right to sleep in. To break this rule is to announce to the neighborhood that you have zero respect for human life or collective rest. 46. When you see a friend who has a newborn, they usually look like they've just survived a month-long interrogation. The law here is as rigid as the one for their baby. You must tell them they look fantastic. Mentioning their dark circles or glazed expression isn't just rude. It's a confirmation of their deepest, most exhausted fears. They know they look like a walking zombie, but your job is to lie directly to their face with a warm, convincing smile. It's a necessary act of mercy to help them maintain a shred of dignity. 47. American sidewalks don't have painted lanes, but the unwritten traffic laws are surprisingly rigid. You walk on the right. When 2 people approach each other, they perform a subconscious, instinctive shift to avoid a collision. To walk down the center, or worse, the left, is to force a high-stakes game of human chicken. It's a small ripple of chaos that signals to everyone around you that you simply don't know how to navigate the physical world. 48. A lone jacket draped over a chair in a crowded cafe possesses a temporary superpower. According to the unwritten code of the table claim, that jacket creates an invisible force field that everyone respects. There's no legal enforcement, just a fragile, collective understanding that says, this spot is taken. It's the universal system that keeps a busy lunch rush from devolving into a gladiator-style free-for-all for the last available seat. Without this rule, the entire social fabric of the coffee shop would unravel in minutes. Let's face it, if you broke more than 5 of these today, you aren't just unique. You're the reason we can't have nice things. I'm starting a trial in the comments right now. Confess the one unwritten law you refuse to follow and explain exactly why you think you're exempt from basic human decency. We're waiting to judge your excuses. Subscribe if you're actually a civilized adult, and smash that like button to prove you're not the monster putting empty boxes back in the pantry.